I don't know, man. Anyways, hi, my name is Silverblaze X, and I am one of the hosts of the TVD Tavern. I am joined today with my co-host, the wondering Anbu. Welcome in,
Hello.
Anbu. And how are you doing today, aside from discussing about our beautiful beards? You were looking for the picture. You didn't keep looking. It's fine. I really actually want to see it now.
I all of a sudden I heard the recording. I was like, oh, I gotta like change it.
Oh, I've been
But
recording all this time. I've just been buttering us up to start the episode.
all right.
Yeah.
Let me see if this was back pre-COVID days when I was actually in shape. And this is
Damn!
Without
Oh my
the beard.
dude, that my boy's hot, bro. Damn!
No,
Oh my
no,
god. No, let's see that. Let's see that again. Let's see that again for the viewers, please. Please.
Oh my god, are you kidding
Please,
me?
let's see that again. Let's see that again. Let's see that again. I'm gonna screenshot that really quick. Look at that. Damn, look at that sexy poppy, bro. Oh my god. Janine, good job.
No.
Way to lock it down, girl. Way to lock it down.
Man.
Good for you, Janine. You're a winner, Janine. Good job, Janine. Wow, bro. Wow. So maybe shave? Because holy shit. Holy shit.
No,
Wow.
dude, that was just.
I mean, you have the Obi-Wan look. You do have the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi look going with your hairstyle and your beard, and I love it. But that that makes you look like a K-pop idol. Wow, bro. Holy shit.
Maybe when my fitness journey gets me where I want to get to be honest, it's a lot different now. But that's a goal. That's a goal.
I without a beard, I do not look anywhere near that. I probably look like a naked mole rat. Mole rat. That's what I look
Mole rat.
look like. No, like a mole rat, like a naked mole rat. I look ridiculous without my beard or my mustache. Last time I completely shaved everything, Moose was like, "Don't ever do that again." And I'm like, "Okay." It was a threat.
No, dude,
it wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't a "Can you please not shave again?" It was a "Don't do that again." It was very serious. And, yeah.
No, dude. I mean, that was back in 2019 when it was the gym 6 days a week and everything else. So honestly, me with having shaved in front of Gene a couple times has been keep the beard, please.
Oh,
Please. No, but it's okay. I mean, that's just kind of like become the thing. Like, people have seen me without my beard, and then have seen me with my beard. They go, "I don't know you anymore without your beard." That's the thing. Like, the beard has become the Anbu identity, to where the moment I shave it off, it's like confusion as to who I am and what happened to Anbu. So I kind of need to save the beard. It's just how it is.
Yeah, it's fine, dude. I don't get me wrong. Yeah, that's how. And I wouldn't be able to recognize you if you shaved. If I'm being completely honest, if that guy on the phone showed up, I'd be like, "What? And what are these weird feelings I'm having right now? I thought I was straight." I'm just kidding. But anyways, welcome to the Tavern, guys. Make sure you grab your ales, get your drinks, and please make sure to always tip your barkeeper. Today we're actually going to be tackling on a couple more of the episodes from Dungeon Meshi, which already ended, and it has an incredible ending, which we'll be discussing in another episode. But it's been such an incredible little journey, having to like go from wholesome. Oh, here, let's cook some monsters. Let's add some veggies. From this little ecosystem to murder, to murder, violence, death. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy adventure.
So for clarification, the reason why it's the next episode is, and I felt this in my soul, is poor Anbu has not finished. I know it's ended.
I didn't say anything.
Hasn't completed.
I wasn't gonna call you out. You're doing this all by yourself.
But no, Dungeon Meshi, I really do love the way that it eases viewers into the like when it gets into the darker elements, because I think a lot of shows kind of just go, hey, look, wholesome, then damn, all of a sudden it's like there goes like dark death and misery and sadness and everything, like Made in Abyss and a whole bunch of other shows. Like if you watch
oh
those,
my god,
you'll be forever traumatized. Yeah,
we should do that.
like
we should do an episode of that soon.
Oh god. Okay. Well, we're gonna be talking about that. But like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of shows in general where they kind of like decide that they have to rush into the heart of like the story, to where there's no real easing into it and like enjoying the characters and getting to know them. And I think Dungeon Meshi does that so well, where like you get to know more about Chillichuk, or you get to know more about Marcel, or Senshi, or Laios, and like how each person is unique and different. And so, you know, I know that we're still in the wholesome stage talking about it today, but I love that these episodes in particular that we're talking about were the ones that also kind of delve a little bit into the darker stuff as well, and kind of start going more into like, I guess the undertones of foreshadowing what to expect, not undertones.
Yeah. I mean, we still get a good amount of wholesome. And just to be clear, right, we're going to be going through episodes 5 through 9 today. And some of them still talk a good amount about very good food. But you start seeing some morbidity, especially with episode 5, right? We get this, we get to meet this other group of adventurers, right? That go in the dungeon. They all seem like a competent set of folks, right? But they get taken out by the simplest thing, right? Which is the thing that you see in D&D all the time and in dungeons, right? Like with mimics and little trap things, right? And but in this time it's actually those treasure bugs, right? That are poisonous.
Yep. And it's funny because it's a very simple but effective trap. Treasure bugs. Like you think you found a bag of treasure, you get to reap the rewards, you get to go buy new equipment, you get to be like stronger, you could go further into the dungeon, and then all of a sudden you're knocked out cold and you have no idea what happened to you. I think it goes to show, like, in general, like even the most experienced person in any sort of field could overlook something simple because they feel like they know what to expect. So that was kind of like a great way to indicate that even the most experienced dungeon explorers can be killed by overlooking the little details.
Yeah. I mean, you get comfortable, right? And I think in almost any field of work, and when you get comfortable, you start making mistakes. Except that my mistakes and your mistakes are probably going to be just related to budget and, you know, other stuff, but not. Yeah. It's not going to cost us our life like it does for them. But yeah, they got comfortable and they get stung by these treasure bugs when they think in reality it was treasure. Surprise.
And then what we also find out too is that in the dungeon, there are spirits that can do two things. They can freeze you to death, so you die from their touch, and they kind of lull you into a false sense of like this like dreamland where you get to see the people that you love and everything else while you're dying. And then they can also use the bodies of the dead to come back to life to actually kill other explorers. So one of the things that we see in this episode as well is Senshi, being the creative genius that he is with food, creates holy water by like using, what was it, like one of the treasure bugs, because of its representation of the sun, like using all these different things, salt, sugar, herbs and everything, and then to save his crew and to save Kabru's crew, which is the crew that was knocked out, he makes this like holy water that he has in holy water in this like jug that he ties with a rope, and is just swinging it around and just knocking out every ghost possible. And so we kind of again see like how if you're not careful, one small misstep, you could, even if you are seeing one thing, you could be blinded to another situation, and you have to be quick on your feet and learn how to adapt. And that's such a good part of that. That's what makes this episode so interesting, is because of the way that the group is able to adapt and even overcome something that they almost didn't pay attention to.
Right. I mean, even at some point, I think Laios ends up kind of like also getting a little too comfortable. I think he ends up getting caught by the ghosts at some point. One of them, I think, drags him down. But that guy is just such a goofball. Like, he's so curious and goofy. Like, that's I don't know if I don't think it's comfortable. I think he's just like, I don't know. I think he's just curious about everything. He has such a child's mind.
He is. He's so hyper-fixated on understanding everything there is to know about dungeon monsters. And I think that's what makes Laios so intriguing and so relatable, is like, how many of us have had moments of hyper-fixations, right? Like, off TBD Tavern, my hyper-fixation currently is Gundam. Like, I'm going to be upfront. Like, I'm building Gundam models, I'm starting to like really dive into Gundam lore, and it's very convoluted and messy, but like that's become a hyperfixation. It's like you just, when you find something you love, you jump into it. And for Laios, he's all about knowing what they taste like, if they're edible, and also like how they work in a dungeon. And I think that's what really gets everybody to kind of root for him and to like really enjoy him as the main protagonist.
No, he is likable as hell, for sure, and very relatable, very frustrating at times, but but it's fine. But yeah, no, Senshi's so skilled that I don't know who would have thought about using the sorbet, or how do you say it? Sorbet? Sorbet. There you go. Thank you.
No, you're good.
Out of like trying to scare the ghosts with that holy water, right? Because that's what it was. I don't still understand the science of it. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's what happened. So he made holy water, right? Like he boiled the jewels, he put like the gold coin in there, everything. And because ghosts can go through items, and that's how the holy water worked, because they also freeze people, they froze the water in the jar, so it turned everything into a sorbet. So it's a holy sorbet, which I don't even know if that works as like to protect them in the future anyway, because like holy water turned into holy. Like if I could eat sorbet and it was holy, like I would do that. And it's like, protect me, sure, do it. Like I got demons and demonologists, bet I'll eat some sorbet. I'll be fine. We're good. Holy sorbet.
How did he make the water holy again?
No. So what he did was he boiled it with a candle, and then put salt in there. He put a gold coin because the gold represented like the sun god Horus in some religion, or it was like the bug, the beetle that's on the coin.
Okay. Oh, that's what made it holy.
Yeah, and then like there's like with gods you give offerings, so like the jewel bugs also is what he used, and then like he put herbs in there. Salt is oftentimes used for purifying spirits, or like to get demons out and everything. So that's how he did it, and as he boiled it and it all came together, that's how it turned out. And then he smacked it around, and then because of all the ghosts that they extinguished, and them being able to pass through physical properties, they were able to make sorbet as a result from it. So
gotcha. Now I know the science. Not the science, more like the logic in how the water became holy. But yeah, that was a really good episode. The messed up part is that what's the name of the crew that got killed?
So Kabru's group, which they actually didn't get killed, they just got knocked out, I think, right?
Oh, okay. I thought they got revived by later.
I think that's later. I think that's after the water one, when they deal with the fish people and die in Senshi and the crew try to So I think they died there, and then they were revived.
I guess what I was gonna say was that it sucks that they ended up assuming that Laios' crew robbed them, right? Because they just didn't have the jewels anymore and the gold. But yeah, they it sucks that they already had that like bad impression of Lyos's group, right?
Yeah.
As we learn, apparently Lyos and what's his sister's name again?
Uh,
I don't know why I almost said free rent.
Feri? Falling.
Fallen.
Yeah.
So, apparently him and Fallen already have like a very weird, like, rep that we end up finding out later in other episodes, with the adventurers, and this definitely did not help, how they're seen, right? Because they think that now that they're a bunch of thieves. What happens after this episode? Because that was episode 5 with the treasure bugs and the sorbet.
So, episode 6, which is the next one, is when they have to cross that water, and then Senshi needed to actually get his hair washed because the spell that Marcio was going to use to have them walk on water didn't work on him because of all the oil and all the like monster whatever on him. And so
all the grease and all that stuff.
Oh, wait, hold on. That's a different one. Sorry. The next episode, that was episode 7. Episode 6 is when Lyos gets the ingenious idea that he can eat food from a painting. So he decides the best thing to do is to tie a rope around his body and then get swallowed into the paintings. But actually, what's so ingenious about this episode is we actually learn the origin of the dungeon. Because you see the castle that they're in, you see the prince that's born, you see the prince's marriage where he gets poisoned, you see like the next feast and everything.
The mad magician, wizard?
The mad mage. We also meet the mad mage, but we don't know that at the time. So it's alluding to that because remember the mad mage was like, I saw you outsider, what are you doing here? Because I saw you at the birth of the prince, I saw you at the death of the prince, and now you're here. And then they almost burned Lyos from on his armor. But then we learned that unfortunately you cannot eat painting stuff because it's imaginary. You're going into a spell of an illusion to go back in time, but it's not like you can come back with what you've ate. So like they spent the whole day watching Lyos, hearing Lyos go, I need to eat this food, I need to go in here now, and then instead, the viewers get a good breakdown of the history of the dungeon and then meeting the Mad Mage. So I think that was great.
Yeah. They broke it. Again, that delivery that the Dungeon Meshi was able to do on a lot of things. Like, they were able to give us the background without having to tell us and without having to spoil it. I mean, I'll be honest. When I first saw that episode, I saw it for what it was. Lyos being a goofy little goober, right? And going into paintings to eat other food because that's what he does. He loves eating. And that's all. And then that he went through an entire little story, right? And it was an adorable thing. But when I saw it a second time and I read it on the manga, then I was like, oh my god, it's all there. Like, it's all there. Maybe you caught it quicker than I did, but I had to go back a second time and then be like, that is the history of the dungeon. That is the history of the Mad Mage. That is the history of that king that was found coming out of the dungeon that promised, whoever gets to the end will or defeats the Mad Mage or whatever the promise was, gets all of his kingdom, right? It shows all of the rise and downfall of that kingdom, but I didn't realize it because it was so well delivered. It fell in line with all the wholesomeness of what this anime was, but the lore was right there. It was sneaky, even though it was like in my face. It was literally on my face.
No, that's the thing. Honestly, a good show can tell you without like shoving it in your face, without a giant exposition dump or whatever. Because I feel like there's a lot of shows that kind of fall into that trap where it's like, oh crap, I've set this very elaborate like backstory that we haven't touched upon. So let me do like a giant exposition dump or like a giant episode out of nowhere that like tells you everything to catch you up to make things make sense. But Dungeon Meshi is like, I'm not gonna hold your hand. Like this is like D&D, right? In D&D, you discover more lore as you go on, typically, and then you put together the pieces over time. You're meant to do that. You're meant to kind of revisit details and look and remember specific instances that tell you that what is happening in the story, and that's why we have inspiration points and everything in D&D. But like that's what I liked about the episode is like you said, it's not in your face. It's just there. It's a part of the episode, and you don't have to realize what it is for the story because you could just find things out later. But I think it's a treat for people who go back and rewatch it to be like, oh, there's the Mad Mage this whole time, or like, oh, that's the story of the dungeon. Like it's a little treat that you can always go back to. It's like Senshi giving us a fine ass meal, being like, here's like a delicious part of the meal that you missed. So I agree. I really love that about that episode.
Yeah, no, it was a good way, definitely. Because as soon as I went into episodes 10, 11, and 12, where we get to see more of the Mad Mage and more of the lore, my brain already had that info. And then my brain's like, oh, I saw this. I know all of this. Like, I know where this guy is from. Oh my God, it was there all along. And like, it was Inception. Dungeon Meshi incepted that info into my brain without me having to realize it, and that's just incredible to me of how they did it. But so that was episode 6. Now episode 7 is the one that you were explaining right now, right? And that is them having to cross that very long part of just a body of water that was filled with monsters, and Senshi just couldn't float because he just had so much grossness, and he's
oil and everything.
He's a dwarf, right? That's the what?
He's a dwarf.
He's a dwarf, and dwarf by the lore of the dwarves, like they usually are people that live in the mountains, and they're usually very dirty. That's just how they are. So why would he bathe, right? I guess that's the thing. Like, why would he bathe? So,
and also,
what was the logic again? What was the logic again? Why he could? Was it just the blood? I don't understand. Like, was it?
It was like the oil. No, it was like it's like the oil of cooking the monsters. It's all the seasoning, all the spices, the sweat, and everything. So it was just like a culmination of like, I think mainly there's just too much other material on him that isn't Senshi. So in theory, that's why he couldn't do it. But also, like, if you remember Senshi, because he is a dwarf, and they really are more about earning their stuff, like working for it. He also didn't really want to like float because he felt like that disturbs the natural order of things. Because I think from what we understand of dwarves, they're all about the natural balance and order, right? Respect to nature, to where it's like you don't want to tip anything too far or go one way or the other. And so what I found funny was he was like, so in the last episode, one more thing. There's this whole thing about mimics, and Chiljak, who is their halfling, who is also their trap expert. Long story short is, in the middle of the night, he decides to go get more water. He actually gets trapped because he finds a treasure bug, and then steps on a rock that traps him in a room with a mimic, and then he has to basically scramble to figure out how to get out of it. But he didn't want to tell anybody because he didn't want to worry them or whatever, or yell or cut or get monsters to find him.
Because it could set off also traps, and also the monsters could come.
So then he basically figures out the riddle to get him out of the room. It crushes the mimic underneath it, and then what he finds out is that treasure bugs eat mimics. So what makes that interesting to me is the ones that found the treasure bugs so the one that found the treasure bugs, likely the ghoul that the Kabru's crew fought, and when they had died in their dungeon exploration, they likely found a dead mimic and found that treasure, and then could have been knocked out, and then also just died from being asleep. So there's that. But yeah, so then they eat the mimic. It tastes like crab. Everybody's happy, whatever. And then they use poor Chilchuck's lock picking tools to take the meat out because like crab meat, it's very hard to
that's
get.
Right.
He's like dying on the inside because he hates mimics. There's this whole little tidbit about like his history with mimics. But like getting back to this episode, what's funny is since she's like, all right, I can't float in water, I'll use a kelpie. And if for those of you who may not know the lore about kelpies or anything, let me tell you what the lore is. Kelpies will drag your ass into the water and drown you, and then they will eat you, and you will be gone, and you will wonder what like you won't even wonder what happened. You'll just get dragged down, and that's that. So here's Senshi being like, let me stick a mimic like piece in the water so it smells it, and then I'm gonna have this kelpie like and use it to cross the water. And he's like, oh, I've got this. A kelpie comes up. Everybody's like, oh no, what are you doing? He's like, it's fine, don't worry about it. And then her name is Anne to him. And then as he's like crossing the water with her, she starts diving. Laios realizes that he's about to be dragged under the water. So he like, I think he like throws a rope, ties it to Senshi's foot, and then gets in the water with him, and then they have to kill Anne. But what happens is, it gives them plenty of food. They are able to make like a kelpie stew. I think that's what happens. They make a kelpie stew. And then Marcel makes a soap for Senshi to be able to wash off all the grossness from kelpie fat. And so, yeah, at the end of it, they're able to like to cross the water, but I think it comes at they almost get killed though. Because what you find out is that there's like a large squid. I forget what they call it. What the
the with the tentacles, right?
Yeah. What was the name of it? You know what? While we're talking,
so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's a giant squid. That's what you need to know.
It's a giant squid. The notes say water spirit. Is that what you're saying? Is that what that is? Is it also? Is it
it's
a spirit?
Kraken. That's what it is. It's a kraken. That's what it is. Yeah, so it's a giant squid kraken boy, who is there. But one thing I don't want to overlook, because I know we're trying to like summarize it pretty well, is we learn the philosophy of Senshi in this episode too. And again, like for dwarves in general, is you don't want to do too much to overthrow the ecosystem of the dungeon. This goes back to the episode of the golem, where like he uses the golem for growing vegetables, which then he nourishes them by using the poop that dungeon explorers leave in the washrooms, and that's a special fertilizer and everything, because like everything is about balance. You always want to make sure that you don't take without giving in return, or like you don't take more than what you need, because then you throw off everything else. And so one of the moments that's very small but very I think essential for the show is when they're fighting the bladefish. Marcel uses like an explosion thing that kills all the bladefish, and you see Senshi pissed off, like, you killed too many and this is why, and like explains the hierarchy of like all the monsters. And so I don't know, I wanted to highlight that part because I think it's a good part.
It's a good part. I mean, he definitely outlines how if you kill too many monsters, it might bring in a different monster into that ecosystem, and it could eventually wreck everything up. So yeah, I mean, he has a really good sense of the balance of the dungeon and how, like you said, if you take a little bit more off of that area, how it could definitely destroy everything. But yeah, you're right. He does explain it. He does get on her butt about it. It's funny, but it's also very well thought out, right? About how balance is important in the dungeon. How the dungeon is still kind of like a nature in a way. It's kind of, I mean, the dungeon is alive, right? And then what happens next? Episode 8.
Well,
Fallen. What? What's up? What did I skip? What did I do?
You're good. It's fine. It's fine. No, essentially, they eat the squid. Then they find the parasites in the squid.
Oh yeah, they do. They do eat.
Remember?
Squid.
Yeah.
Because they make what are they called? Okonomiyaki. Takoyaki.
Yeah. Well, they make and also the grilled thing, the where they like grill it over in a charcoal thing, or skewers. That's what it is. But then what happens is Senshi gets food poisoning from something that he eats, and then he like has to lay down, and then Marcel has to take care of him. So it's kind of like finally we see Laios getting the consequence of his own actions of being too curious about eating monster meat. Yeah. So yeah, that's what happens in episode 7, and then episode 8 is when we actually get a little bit of backstory. But here's the thing: so earlier I joked about how like shows try to throw too much backstory in all of a sudden, but I actually like the backstory in this one because we get to see why Fallon is so important to Marcel and everybody, and like how significant she is to Marcel. And like their past about like going to school together to learn how to take care of spirits in dirt and heart, and like to grow them and to be able to summon them. And then we see how like Fallon just has this like natural gift of like finding places with mana and spirits and energy, and also seeing how gifted she is, right? And so we kind of learn more about Marcel's ambitions of wanting to build like a dungeon that is safer for explorers, but also isn't like just random monsters that could kill you without having a purpose or intention for being there. And then so it's an interesting episode to show just like how different those two are, but like how different in nature too, because like Fallon is much more gentle and much more like trying to be very careful, kind of like with Senshi, of like not disrupting things but learning how to just use what is available with also paying respect. And then you got Marcel just like, how the hell do you do that? Like wanting to like learn on her own, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I barely remember that episode, but it's probably for the best because to the listeners and the viewers, it's a really good episode to check out because they have a very unique, very good friendship that I've commented in the past on Twitter, and it's on me. Because everybody suspects that they have like a romance going on. They're just friends, guys. And I'm gonna say it again, and I'm sorry, Anbu, that becomes controversial for this episode, but
no, it's fine.
There's just no romance, man. Like, why do people try and make people? There doesn't. You know what I've liked about Meshi, Dungeon Meshi, is that there hasn't had to be a need for romance, dude.
Yeah.
Not once. There hasn't had to be like, oh, the guy likes the girl likes the guy, or the girl likes the girl, or the guy likes the guy. It's just been wholesomeness, cooking, adventure. Like, yeah, it's got darkness, but not once had we have to, like, on the traditional sense, always add some sort of romantic plot like we always do on animes. And it was, I guess that's also one of the things that I find so refreshing. So when people say, oh, they're an item, or even if it was like Laios and Marcel, I still don't like it, because why? You don't need it. It's such a good story on its own. You don't need to have love, dude. I mean, yes, love is important, but not romantic love, because there's a lot of love. They all seem to almost be like a happy little traveling family, to a point they even Chilchuck, who's such a little bastard, would feel terrible if something happened to any of the other people. So that's been my beef with the internet, is that everybody wants to like just make it a romance. It's not. I mean, if honestly, in my opinion, if they made it into a romance, or they put some sort of, I think the only thing that has been sort of romantic, but it looks like it's only one way, is Fallen and this one other character from the beginning of the first episode, which we will eventually talk about in the next episode. But it's the samurai guy.
The samurai guy,
the original crew. But it's just one way. Like, Fallon doesn't show that she had an interest or anything, or maybe, but who knows? But nonetheless, like, again, the mangaka, the artist, he also alludes to anything else, like, for sure, 100%.
Well, because I agree. Go on.
No.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, as a writer myself, right? Like, one of the things that does bug me too is like when romance is forced in, because I think you can tell a very compelling story without romance having to be some aspect of it. I don't know if it's just like expected now in writing. I don't know if it's just something that like people assume is going to happen, but like, I agree with you. That's what I love about Dungeon Meshi is that it kind of shows that the idea and to get a little nerdy. So bear with me, everybody.
Do it.
The thing with the word love is, in different languages, there's different words for different types of love, right? So like in Greek, there's like 4 different ways of love. There's like eros, agape, phileo, and another one which I don't remember right now. But like agape, I think is unconditional love. Phileo is like filial. Eros is romantic, and then there's another one for like platonic. But like whatever. But like the word love doesn't have to translate to like, yeah, I want to bone you, right? It can be very simply like, I care about you as a friend, and I care about you living, and I love these adventures and memories with you. And that's intimate enough. It doesn't need to be beyond that. And so like, I love that all these characters have such a connection with each other, because it's not out of like a romantic sense. It's like we work together really well, and I like surviving these adventures with you, and like we all care about Thalion in whatever capacity, to where like, so I agree. I don't like I get the love for shipping characters, but I don't really think it's needed. So
not in this story so far. Not in this story so far. I love how you said that. I love surviving with you. That's pretty cool, man. Very well said.
Well, thank you.
Last but not least, episode 9. What happens here? We meet up with
so
Oh
yeah, so
is that the cat
that's
girl?
right. No, Cat Girl's later, dude. The Cat Girl's way later. No, Namari is the red-haired dwarf that Senshi basically replaces.
Oh. How did they meet her?
So she was part of the original party. So Shuro, which is the guy that loves Helen, and Namari were originally part of Laos's crew, right? Like part of Chilchuk and Marcel and everything. And then she left because they weren't paying her, basically. They didn't have the money to pay her. So like she needed money. So basically I guess they just kind of met her, and she joined their party, and then that's when they went exploring and everything. So
wasn't it where they had to go through this tunnel that had like tentacles or something like that?
Oh, that's right.
And then they end up using the skins of the frog. Oh, yes.
No.
Oh my God. Is that it?
Hold on. No, Frogs is the next episode, because they disband afterwards. You're close though. You're close. We could talk about that. But like, it's the episode with the tentacles when Laos helps Namari's new party with saving their party member. So he gets sucked up by the tentacles, and then has Namari kill it with a crossbow, and then they're able to like cook it and it looks like a banana to me, honestly, because of the way that they peel the skin and then like they cut it into quarters. Yeah. And also, this is when Marcel is out of mana, and she got almost killed by the water sprite. So they have to work together to defeat the water sprite. That is that they need to beat in order to get past.
Yeah, that's where they try and figure out ways to feed her mana again, right? Because she's completely depleted.
Yeah, so
I
like
completely forgot about that episode. It's been a while. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So I know it's me. I'm the one that just like freshly rewatched. Was like, hey, so I only remember up to these episodes.
I'm not taking jabs at you. Jesus Christ! Get
over
it.
You're fine. No, it's true. No,
but God, I'm not jabbing at him.
The thing. No, everybody. I was about to say chat like I'm streaming right now. No, everybody, it's not jabbing. It's just me jabbing myself. It's fine. But like, I love it because one of my favorite things is they make.
Welcome to DVD Tavern.
But like Senshi makes like grills all the meat, right? And then they keep feeding Marcel liver because it's the most nutritious meat. And then she like gets so angry because everybody else is eating everything else that she yells delicious. Like, "Give me other pieces of the meat," and then passes out like from that. But again, like what I like about episode 9, and I thought again, kind of like Senshi's thing with the philosophy of nature, which I liked how you put it. We get another thing about like the code of adventurers, right? Because Chilichuk in episode 9 explains you can't just ask Namari to change her crew again for a quick buck, because word spreads across the guild, right? Because everybody knows each other. Like all the adventurers know each other in some way or another. So like word spreads fast. So like imagine if Namari quits the group that she's with right now to make a quick buck. Yeah. So he was trying to tell her like the best thing he could do for Namari is to let her continue her journey, so that way she doesn't draw the wrong crowd for the future, for job prospects. So I really like that, again, where it's like, I'm gonna protect Namari because she's a friend, but also I want to make sure she doesn't get in danger. And it goes to show again like the dynamics of relationships within Dungeon Meshi, where it's like everybody is looking out for each other, even though everybody's like competitively looking for like the end of the dungeon. They're all still looking out for each other.
Right, they're all looking for wealth. They're all looking to make money. They're all looking to survive. But yeah, you're right. And again, it's still, even outside of the dungeon, there is a balance to things. Again, this series teaches so much about balance and like giving and taking too much and how it affects things, and people being consistently mindful. I'd be stressed out in this world now that I think about it. I'd be too stressed out being mindful of everything. Should I eat this? Should I not eat this? How it's gonna affect it? Is my poop gonna affect it? Is me breathing? Am I breathing too much? I'd have a panic attack, guys. I would have died by now in that world. I don't think I could have survived, honestly, just having to be that mindful about everything. That just goes to show how much of a selfish asshole I am. But
nah, look at that self-deprecation, everybody. Welcome to the TBT Tavern.
Yeah, welcome to the TBT Tavern.
Nice. No, it's true though. It's like that's the thing that I think we can say is a theme of Dungeon Meshi, right? As a whole series, is the art of balance, of like knowing when to give and when to take, when to how to help one another, but also what to do for yourself to survive. Like there's a good balance between the two. And showing how we should do that in our everyday lives with it, whatever it may be. So like finding balance is a necessity. Like look at Senshi. Whenever he talks about cooking his meals, he's always like, you gotta balance nutrition, you gotta balance like taste, like how delicious it is. You gotta like balance all these things.
You have to get good sleep. You have to exercise. Blah blah blah. Except take a bath. Apparently that's where he draws the line. It's like, no baths. Nah, fam. Can't do that. Cannot take a bath. No. Cleanliness, no. Hold on. By the way, he's been cooking for these people all this time with those nasty ass hands, now that I think about it.
Oh no. Gross. Don't tell OSHA. We don't need OSHA to get involved in this, do we?
Like a hair, a dwarf beard hair has probably fallen in there at some point. Okay, and somebody ate it.
But hear me out though. This is gonna sound terrible, but I'm gonna say this just for the fun of it. Could you imagine all the like seasonings, all this like fragrances, all the aromatics, everything in that beard hair, just like Senshi one day just being like,
gross, dude. Oh, ran out of salt. Just like,
right? Oh, you need pepper? Hold on 1 second.
It tasted good. It was worth it. What was your secret? I guess.
What was your secret ingredient, Senshi? Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Me. Myself. What? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's his fetish, apparently.
Nothing. No.
Oh my god. But yeah. So that's it, right? Are we done? Are we done, Daddy Anbu?
I think we're done, Puppy Silver.
For now.
Seriously, everybody, I know for now, but I gotta say this, everybody, like if you haven't started watching it between when we first started talking about Dungeon Meshi to now, basically what we're telling you is get on it, like do it, just start it, go watch it, go binge it. The whole season is out now. You would be doing yourself a disservice if you did not. right?
It exists. Yeah, it's there on Netflix. The whole first season. I was so upsetty spaghetti when I realized that the season was over, and I asked my buddy. Oh, the way I found out, I was in Anaheim at the time, and I thought, oh, this Thursday I get to watch an episode, and then I'm like, oh, where's the new episode? And he's like, buddy, it's over. The season's over, and I'm like. I might have tried to get home a little bit sooner just to try and watch an episode, and then I realized that it was over.
That is so sad. I am so sorry.
I was very sad, honestly, because that's what I had looking forward to every Thursday. I had Dungeon Meshi. I had work. Shit was rough, and then there was Dungeon Meshi, and then I felt happy, and then I go night. It was good. It was a good schedule for me for the longest time, but I'm just gonna have to wait until season 2 comes out, which probably won't happen until fall. Probably, I don't know.
Hopefully, because I feel like a lot of anime. Well, I kind of feel like anime is taking longer now these days. Like at least like not 1 season, but like 2 seasons later. But fingers crossed, it is fall. Like they just continue working on it, so that way we don't.
I'll just read the manga. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, I've been buying. It's one of those rare animes where like a series that I buy the manga for. Like I've been buying the Dandadan volumes, and I now started buying the Dungeon Meshi. Yeah, so I'm gonna find out. Yeah, it sucks, but that's the only way to find out. And because I really have enjoyed the animation. Like the animation's been good. The art, the dialogue, the artist. Oh my god. I just found out through VidCon that the guy that does the voice acting for Laios is one of the cast from Smosh.
Laios, Damien Haas, right?
Yes, Damien. Yeah, because they were. I think it was in VidCon where they were talking about it. And then he's like, oh yeah, I do the voice of Laios from Dungeon Meshi, and I was like, it all makes sense now. No wonder I love the character. I love Damien, dude.
He's so good.
Wow, he is. He's really good. He's really talented. But yeah, that blew my mind. That was so cool. Like Smosh has like such a like deep roots in my funny bones. So. It was fun to know that he does the voice acting for Laios. But yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna stop making this episode longer. Guys, make sure you pay your tabs. Enjoy the rest of your ales and your whatever you ordered. Do we cook stuff here? I don't remember. Do we make things here at the tavern?
We tried, but I think it almost burned down the kitchen earlier, so we kind of put that on hiatus for a little bit.
Don't need it, guys. Don't need it. But still pay. We still have to pay the bills. We have to still keep the lights on. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of TBD Tavern. We will have another episode very soon so that we can conclude Dungeon Meshi. Maybe?
Yeah, we will. Yes? We will. Okay, yeah, we will.
All right, guys.
And then what do you think our next series is going to be? Just to tease them a little bit.
Ooh. What did we say? We said words.
Yeah.
We said topics.
So,
we said things.
Speaking of Dandadan, we're going to be starting our discussion on Dandadan, so be ready for that. But also, please don't forget to like and subscribe on any of the podcasting platforms you listen to. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever it may be. Leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. We love to hear back. Yeah.
We want your attention, please. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.